Okay, we'll get going. So just want to introduce myself. My name is Tegan Martin Drysdale, and I'm with the Homestead Investment Cooperative. So this is a presentation by our cooperative. We like to start by acknowledging that we stand on the traditional territories of the Nihio, Dene, Nakota Sioux, Anishinaabe, Niitsitapi, and within the Métis homeland under Treaty 6. This land, a historic gathering place for diverse Indigenous peoples, shapes our commitment to fostering innovation, cooperation, and shared growth. We honor the enduring presence and deep connection of Indigenous peoples to this land, drawing on their traditions of resilience, respect, and community to enrich our collective endeavors in Edmonton and across Alberta. With gratitude, we embrace our responsibility to engage with reconciliation, respect Treaty 6, and cultivate partnerships that contribute to a legacy of mutual respect, understanding, and prosperity for all who share this land. And we start with Treaty 6 just because that is where our first project is located. And as we add more projects across Alberta, we will add our acknowledgements. So as mentioned, this is a presentation by the Homestead Investment Cooperative. It's the opportunity to invest in the first building in a portfolio of cooperatively owned Alberta real estate assets powered by co-working, starting on Edmonton's historic Jasper Avenue. Why did we choose a community investment cooperative model for our investment? What we liked about it was the local empowerment piece, knowing that it was going to attract people that wanted to invest in their province and in their own backyard and in their local communities. The shared prosperity, so all investors are treated the same. It's one member, one vote, and we all ships rise together. The social impact, so we already, as a co-working space within the building, we attract socially minded businesses, and we have connections to social impact organizations across Canada. And we are not just lease a space, here's your keys, and we leave you alone. We very much provide services and supports to our members to help them grow their businesses, to help them connect with people in their industries, and we provide lots of opportunities to help them grow their businesses. The democratic decision making, so that one member, one vote piece, so that is true no matter how much you've invested. And we as a collective, we make decisions and we act on those decisions. The greater political influence, so naturally we've already attracted people that have great political influence, and we foresee down the future when we are trying to get something done that's innovative and different, potentially in a marketplace, and we come up against regulatory or policy restrictions, we will work to pave the way for our industry and remove those restrictions by working collaboratively with local government. And then the long-term vision. So this is a long-term investment. We are looking for investors that are looking for a minimum 5-year investment term. And that's just because it takes a while to get the operations of a cooperative going, and we want to buy more buildings and we want to grow this across the province. So we will be, stabilizing our operations once we acquire the building, and then looking to expand to other buildings as soon as possible. So it starts with myself. So a little bit of background on myself and how I came to interact with the building. I started my real estate development business in 2012, and I was looking for office space for myself and not finding much office space that really spoke to the type of business that I wanted to grow and the culture I wanted to build. I wanted it to be central. I wanted it to be, preferably downtown. I wanted to have some story and history to it, and the opportunity to breathe new life into it and renovate it and add value to it. So I toured this building, the Alberta Block building on Jasper Ave in 2012 when it was still home to CKUA radio. And at that time, they were just ready to move out of the building and move into their new building east down Jasper Ave. So in late 2013, purchased the building with a private group of investors with the goal to completely renovate it, do a deep energy retrofit, and position the building for the next 50 years on Jasper Ave and make it a fixture on Jasper Ave, and really pay homage to the history of it, but also bring in new features, new mechanical electrical systems, and really look at how we could reduce the energy costs, energy consumption. And so we completed the renovation, and then I moved my business into the second floor as well as a larger co-working space. So I didn't want to work alone. I wanted to work with a community of other like-minded entrepreneurs that could help me grow my business and I could bounce ideas off of. I didn't want to be alone in a office space with no ability to share those ideas and have a community around me. And then post-COVID and towards the end of Dawn's mayoral race or mayoral term, we started talking about the future of downtown Edmonton and what ideas we could implement to be a catalyst and for new energy and attract businesses downtown and really create a thriving community. And that's how we came up with the community investment model. We're really committed to Edmonton and Alberta and through and making businesses thrive. And we, joined forces together as the founding members of Homestead Investment Cooperative. And then we've added additional board members. So we have Jacqueline Cardinal, who's founder and CEO at Naheowen, a storytelling and education social enterprise. She works to integrate and mobilize diverse knowledge systems to realize the promise of our treaties. Just an interesting story about her. She was one of our first members in our co-working space here in Alberta Block, and we've seen her business grow and thrive while she was in our space. Kyla Kazale is co-owner of the Bamboo Ballroom, Bamboo Stockroom, The Common, 9910, and Foos Repair Shop, which is actually our main tenant on our main floor. It's a restaurant and event space. And she combines her passion for music, culture, fashion, Edmonton. And the reason why she is on our board and in our building is because of the cooperative model. When we were looking for a new tenant on the main floor, I approached her and her ownership group and pitched the idea of the investment cooperative model. And they jumped at the opportunity because not only because they liked the building and the space to put their business in as a tenant, but what they said to me was that they would not have an opportunity to buy into the real estate that they are renting space in if it wasn't for this model. And so they saw this as an opportunity to not just put in a thriving business, but also invest in the real estate, the commercial real estate that they pay rent into. Then we have Heather Kirschbaumer, who's founder and CEO at Golden Acre Seeds. She runs a fourth generation family farm in the Peace Country in Northern Alberta. She has extensive board experience and 25 years of leadership positions on boards across Canada. And her and I met, I live near where she lives, up by Fairview, Alberta. And she invested and joined our board because she's interested very much in expanding her real estate portfolio. She does own real estate in rural areas in Northern Alberta, but she's very much interested in expanding and diversifying her market into cities like Edmonton. And she doesn't have to worry about the headache of being the property owner and looking after, when pipes get plugged and issues arise, as well as the network that she's tapping into. So, through a cooperative model, you start to build a community, and it's going to be a community of doers and thinkers and innovators. And she's really excited to be a part of that growing community. Then we have Marilyn Hooper, who's got over 2 decades of experience in government, public relations, and community engagement, and has built a career at the intersection of politics, policy, and advocacy. And one of the reasons why she invested and has joined our board is she has a big tie to CKUA. She's been a long-standing volunteer of theirs and a big promoter, and she loves the history of the building, and she has lots of memories of actually volunteering and working under our roof as part of CKUA. And recently we added Clifford Bell. He serves as CEO of Westlock Terminals, a farmer-owned grain terminal co-op north of Edmonton, where he brings a cooperative vision and operational leadership to support regional agriculture. And one of the benefits of having him on the board is his extensive knowledge of operating and running a cooperative. So while we're relatively new, Westlock Terminals has been around now for quite a few, I think it's the early 2000s they formed, but so almost over 20 years now. And they're running a very successful co-op north of Edmonton. Then we have Jane Hilderman. She's an entrepreneurial cross-sector leader with a track record of social impact. She currently provides fractional support to foundations and startup nonprofits for short-term strategic initiatives as an independent consultant. And she has connections with social enterprise models across Canada and has been a great addition to our board. Then we have Nicholas Menon, is an engineer with over a decade of experience in billion-dollar capital projects. Nicholas brings a foundation in financial prudence, strategic planning, risk management, and large-scale asset development. And he first interacted with our building when he was volunteering for MADE, Media Art Design Edmonton. And he has always liked the architecture of the building, and he loves the asset and really thinks it would be a good investment to invest in. So a bit more about the building. So we have a black and white photo there of the early 1900s. It was one of the original locations of the Alberta Treasury branch here in Edmonton. So when we renovated it, we found 5 vaults from its bank days. In the 1950s, it was taken over by CKUA, and it became a home for music and arts, and now it's a home for entrepreneurs. It went through a deep energy retrofit with new insulation, new roof, new elevator, new mechanical and electrical systems, triple pane fiberglass windows, and structural upgrades to open up the floor plates so we could have flexible tenant layouts. And we really focused on low emissions and low operational costs so that it would stay competitive in a downtown market. It's currently leased with a 4% vacancy. It's currently appraised at 8.85 million, and we have a purchase agreement in place for 8.75 million. And we have the opportunity to add additional revenue by developing out a rooftop patio and additional storage space in the basement. So that photo in the bottom right-hand corner is where we would put the rooftop patio, and it would create a beautiful space on Jasper Ave. The first part of the building where that rooftop patio would go is 4 stories high. It was built in 1909. And then in 1913, they put a 6-story addition on the back, and that's why you see the building step up like that. And as you can see, we kept the ghost murals from CKUA on the exterior of the building. So a little bit about the market. So commercial real estate vacancies in downtown Edmonton are decreasing, and we have few opportunities for small investors to participate in ownership of commercial real estate in Edmonton. I have not yet heard of another opportunity where you can invest in downtown Edmonton real estate for as little as $10,000 to start. And then the area has seen an increased investment in multiple catalysts, including Warehouse Park, which is just to the west of us on 106th Street. And we're seeing a bunch of residential development occur all around that block. So this business model we see is very cyclical. And we believe if we have a strong co-op community, that'll attract strong tenants, and that the stronger tenants will create a strong building and strong investment, and that will help create a stronger co-op community. And so the relationship's very cyclical. We will focus on growing companies, and that's what we do through the co-working space. We create peer mentorship network opportunities with our members and investors, make a major contribution to economic revitalization, create wealth for investors and tenants, expand the model to other communities, and connect with social enterprises across Canada. How will we build revenue? So the main source of revenues is through the main leases in the building, through the tenants in the building. And then in the future, we will host premium professional development events and sell tickets, brokerage fees. So we often have businesses grow and expand within our space and sometimes grow out of our space. And we have several stories of that happening over the last 10 years. And when that occurs, we would like to be in a position to refer them to other landlords that are trusted and we know are going to treat them well, and eventually get brokerage fees for that once we become a brokerage. Space rentals on future amenities like our rooftop patio, and then future real estate acquisitions. So ideally, as our tenants grow, we would like to grow with them and have them grow into a building that we own. And so in the future, when we are looking at buying future real estate, we'll be looking to assemble a project that we already have tenants in hand, or we can find tenants easily. So this is a $9 million deal structure, and we have 2 scenarios to raise the funds. The first scenario is we just through an offering memorandum, you have to put your minimum and your maximum raise scenarios. So our maximum raise scenario is just raising 100% of the capital through private investment. So that $9 million includes the 8.75 million purchase price, plus $250,000 in closing costs and that includes the 100,000 in just working capital once we take over ownership of the building. Scenario 2 is the minimum rate scenario, and so that's where we would finance with a commercial mortgage of 4.375 million and then raise the balance through investment. And we're also in discussions with the current ownership group about a way to close if we do not meet that minimum. So just a description of the types of classes of shares. So Class A membership share is your membership to the co-op. It's a $250 one-time fee to join the cooperative. And then you choose from one of two investment share types, a Class B, which is $10,000 minimum, and you can go up in $1,000 increments. And then Class C is a $100,000 minimum, and you can go up in $5,000 increments. These investments are RSP and TFSA eligible. So that's if you have an existing RSP or TFSA, you can transfer it to purchase these shares, or you can invest cash into a new RSP and TFSA and get those tax benefits when you file your taxes. With our current leases in place, we're projecting annual returns of at least 6%, and that does not include any value appreciation in the asset over time. So a little bit of background on our founders. So we're serving as the initial board. We fronted all costs to date around legal, marketing, accounting. We've committed to over 280,000 in share purchases. We do not receive management fees for putting the deal together. If we do close on the building, what we get in exchange is just shares in kind for the years of work we put into making this happen and to make sure that our board is committed to reaching our goal. We're one member, one vote at general meetings, and our board is currently 9 directors. And we reserve one of those positions as a representative of our Class C investors. So that's those investors that have put in $100,000 or more. And that's just to ensure that they always have a voice at the table, as we know that investors of that size will have lots of experience in investing and be able to provide some really good advice at the table. So what is your role as an investor? So join our mentor community and help us grow our investment and our tenants and grow our community. Refer like-minded potential tenants, mentors, and investors, and participate in one member, one vote general meetings to make key strategic decisions with the co-op community. So currently, the most important role right now, because we are starting this and growing our investor network, is to grow our investor network. And so every time there's a new investor, we're always asking, do you know of one or two other potential investors from your network? Because we know that like-minded people are going to know other like-minded people. And if we know that our values align and we share those values, then we're looking to our investor network to help us expand and grow. We have now raised over $1 million, and we're currently in our second $1 million, so between $1 million to $2 million. And we have offered discounts to the first $2 million raised. So the first million got 4% discount, and now we're into the 2% discount. And that's just a way of saying thank you for being an early adopter and for helping us get this off the ground. Some additional investor perks. So we started the H100 Club. So that's for the first 100 member investors. They will receive recognition and a prominent place in Alberta Block, and an original H100 keepsake for display in their home or office. As well, all investors receive an unlimited drop-in membership at Homestead Co-working from Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., as well as 10% off food at Foos and 20% off event bookings at Foos. And as we grow, we will add more of those investor perks as well. So just as a quick summary here of our offering, I think I touched on all of these items. It's just a good summary to look over. Rights on dissolution is proportionate share of net assets after liabilities, and dividends are issued on investment shares based on annual operating results. For time horizon, we talked about the minimum 5-year investment time frame before redemption. So that redemption is when you can sell your shares back to the cooperative as a whole. and exit that way. But if you need to exit before 5 years, after 4 months of receiving the shares, you can sell your shares to another existing investor, or you can bring in a new investor, all with board approval, of course. I mentioned the use of the funds raised. So in both of the minimum and maximum raise scenario, we have $100,000 working capital, and that's just to set aside in case anything happens down the road or any repairs need to happen. This RSP and TFSA eligible, and then the closing date. So currently the purchase agreement has a building sale closing October 31st and an offering open till September 29th. So that's early next week. So just to close, why does this matter? So we believe in Edmonton, we believe in Alberta, we believe that it's home to builders, creators, entrepreneurs, people that get things done, and we want to invest in those people and help them create wealth by providing opportunities to invest in real estate across Alberta. And we know if we pair a really good real estate portfolio with a group of those like-minded investors, entrepreneurs, doers, builders, we're going to have a powerhouse group in 10 or 20 years. And I'm really excited, the people that we've been meeting by creating this investment cooperative and inviting people to join us has been absolutely amazing. It's doing exactly what we had hoped it would do. It's being a lightning rod for those types of thinkers. And we're excited to see where we go with this. So if you're interested in investing, you can sign up for our investor portal through either emailing us, or you can go to our landing page, and there you can hit buttons for either Class B or Class C share purchases. You just provide your name and your email address to create your profile, and on there is all of our due diligence documents on the investor portal. So that's where like cash flow projections, building condition report, building appraisal, our bylaws, our offering memorandum, that's all there for you to read through. And then there's a button to say invest now if you want to start investing, and you start to answer questions, and it starts to build out the documentation for you and fill in all the blanks for you. And then you can sign the documents electronically. We also highly recommend touring the building if you haven't already done so. We're hosting tours every day this week. So stop by and come see us. We have open house here tonight starting at 4:30. As well, we can accommodate one-on-one tours if the availability in the evenings doesn't work for you. So this is our contact information. Just before I get to your questions, I'll answer some of the frequently asked questions. So is it difficult to sell shares in a co-op? So I mentioned the options of selling 4 months after you get ownership of the shares. You can sell to a new investor or an existing investor. And then after 5 years, you can redeem your shares with the co-op. There is a limit of 10% of the total shares of the building being redeemed in any 1 year. And that's just to make sure that the co-op itself can manage the costs of to pay people out for their redemptions. What if I want to get my money out early? So again, that kind of answers those questions. What are benefits for investors outside Edmonton? So, I kind of mentioned Heather's story. It's an opportunity, was an opportunity for her to diversify her real estate portfolio, invest in product and real estate that she wouldn't normally invest in. And then she doesn't have the headache of managing it as well as the investor network that you're joining. How does this differ from a GIC or a REIT? So it is a very different type of investment. Right from, it's very much more hands-on, much more involved. You get an opportunity to have a say in the future of what is done with the properties, whether we purchase more properties or sell properties. You get to be part of the decision-making. You have opportunities to join the board. We will have committees formed to develop certain things out of our operations. So you have opportunities to volunteer and join those committees, as well as, very much direct the future of the organization. What is the next addition to the portfolio? So that will depend on our investor network. Once we close on this building, we will, that will show us, what funds we have available. and we will make a 5-year strategic plan with our investment community. And yeah, very much be asking for your feedback on where you think we should be investing next. We'll be looking at where's a lot of our investment from, what are the opportunities in the province, where are the growing markets, where do we potentially have tenants that are interested in the spaces that are available. So we'll be looking at a ton of factors, and we'll be definitely forming a committee to investigate all of that. And if you see an opportunity in your local community and in your hometown, then we would be asking our investor network to put forward any of those opportunities that they see as well. So with that, I'm just going to go to the chat here and see if there's any questions. No. So yeah, just you can unmute yourself if you have a question you want to ask. Oh, here, I see one. How many shares in kind will the board be receiving? Will this be the structure for future building acquisitions? So that is all disclosed in the offering memorandum. And it was based on the different phases. So, so you can, once you log in and create an investor profile, go to the offering memorandum. It's all there in a table, and what the conditions are, what milestones we have to meet in order to get the shares in kind. It's nowhere near what would actually be, paid for actual time put into this, but it was just something to like I said, to keep board members committed, to reduce turnover of our board, and to make sure that all of their heavy lifting and efforts were rewarded in some way. Will this be the structure for future building acquisitions? I don't know. That will depend on the size and scale of those future building acquisitions, how much work is going to go into it. Yeah, there's just too many factors involved in each project. So yeah, that will definitely be decided at a later date. When are the 6% dividends currently slated to begin? So it'd be starting once we close on the building, because that's when we start to gain revenues from the rents. And again, that's why we did the discount initially, so that, because we knew it would take some time to raise the funds. So there could be people that put their money in, and it's 6 months before we actually close on the building, and we're gaining those revenues. So the ones that invest later will see returns start sooner. What happens if you don't reach minimum investment target by September 29th? So we are in discussions this week about that. We think we might get pretty close to either 2 million or 2.5 million. And there is discussions with the current ownership group around bridging that gap, and discussions with lenders as well. So there may be a need to extend the offering, but it won't be extended by very much time, just because we want to close on the building as soon as possible and not drag this out too long. So that's, yeah, we're having a board meeting tomorrow. We'll be discussing this exact question of how much we can extend, and if we are extending. If we don't extend and we don't meet our minimums and we don't have ability to close, then all of the funds that have been received to date would be returned. So they're all being held in trust with our lawyer. We don't see the funds at all. Even if we close on the building, they would go straight from our lawyer's trust to the seller's account and the lender. So that's that. Would you go ahead without the minimum? So we are discussing changes to our offering. If we can negotiate that gap close, like I mentioned, with the current ownership group, we can potentially change the minimum to meet where we think we're going to land. And so then that would allow us to go ahead. So like I said, there's either we extend the current offering, we modify the current offering, or we don't meet our goal and we just return everybody's funds. Those are kind of the three options right now. We have extended twice before. We won't extend, like I said, the length of time we would extend would be much shorter. We're not going to be extending for very long if we have to. We really do feel like we're building a lot of momentum. So we've seen a lot of energy and investment come in the last couple of weeks. So we're seeing that hockey stick effect because as we add more investors, like I mentioned earlier, they have networks of investors and they help us bring in more investors. So eventually this will the efforts that go into raising the funds decrease exponentially because of the network that we've built. And so we're starting to see the effect of that network take place, which is really exciting, and to see that take shape. So we're excited to see what happens in the next little bit. Okay, well, thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, definitely reach out. We definitely encourage you to come to our open house if you're available. And it's just a great opportunity to meet some of the other investors and board members and make sure, you know, we align with you and what you want to invest in and ask any questions. We do tours of the building. And then we go for a bit of a social afterwards down in Foods Repair Shop so you can experience the restaurant as well. So we look forward to hopefully seeing you later today. Thank you so much, everyone.